Joining us live is National Senator M.Canavan. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get to what you've been up to yesterday, yes, certainly a lot of countries across the world fast-tracking nuclear, of course, controversial here. And the ban, that is part of your statement that you're putting forward to the productivity table. What are your thoughts on the ban and also a policy for nuclear?
Well, our ban on nuclear energy and the sort of de facto bans and we have on uranium mining around the country just defy all sense. There's just no common sense to it all. Keep in mind the ban we have on nuclear energy here in Canberra passed through the Australian Senate with less than 15 minutes of debate. It was a last-minute amendment that was moved by a Greens senator to a bill to build a new nuclear reactor at Lucas Heights. We already have a nuclear reactor in this country just 30 minutes from our largest city. Home sell for over $1 million next door to it. It makes nuclear medicines, not nuclear power. And about 1 in 2 Australians through their lifetime will rely on nuclear medicine to help them. So we already have the technology here. We could just convert something like that or build obviously something new to make electricity. And as your program just showed there, that's being done all around the world. Just last week, India announced that they're building 10 new nuclear reactors, despite our own energy minister saying India's only doing solar and wind. I mean, that's just not the case. They're building coal, they're building nuclear, they're building renewables. My view has always been, we should just build everything. Just build everything. We've got so much energy needs, especially with the rise of AI. Let's just get it all done. And that's the only way, by getting more supply of electricity that will push down power prices and ultimately lift our productivity, which where there's a lot of talk about this week, but not a lot of action.
It's interesting. I had a good chat to Helen Cook last night, the nuclear law expert who's been in Southeast Asia looking at lifting bans there. And as you said, there's so many countries that are lifting bans. Would you say it's a political thing? Because, I mean, in America, for example, it's bipartisan. You know, Trump's in now. If people are not fans of Trump, Biden was, for nuclear energy, and they're fast-tracking it there, as you mentioned, so many other countries. So why here? And again, people don't have to love nuclear, but would you say we perhaps need some more education on what it's about?
Well, look, perhaps, but why here, you ask, and we are very unusual, as you say. Nuclear energy is bipartisan. Almost every other Western country, most other developing countries, the UK, the Labor Party, there's in power, and they're massively boosting nuclear energy there. Why is it not here? Well, my view is always follow the money. There's a lot of money being made in our energy system on the backs of the high power prices that we're all suffering under, and those entrenched vested interests don't want a new form of reliable and cheap power to undercut their profit-making activities. So because nuclear would be always on power, it would provide significant amounts of power. Like, these are massive power stations. There'd be huge supply of more electricity. That would lower the price, and then all those people making a lot of money on the backs of us all would be very upset. That explains the entrenched opposition. We saw those vested interests spend a lot of money in the last political campaign, spreading total lies about the cost of nuclear energy, saying it'd be $600 billion, making the absurd claim that somehow that would be funded from the health budget, all these things. So look, we failed to prosecute the case at the last election on this, but we remain very committed to removing these illogical bans. It's the best thing for our country. And for one more point, if I get the opportunity, you did mention the nuclear submarines we're bringing in. It's ridiculous. We're going to have nuclear reactors around our shores, but we would be the only country in the world to not have nuclear energy with nuclear submarines. Only 6 other countries have nuclear submarines. All of those other countries have their own domestic nuclear energy system. And I worry that without such an industry, a nuclear energy industry onshore, it's hard to see how we'll attract young Australians into those nuclear degrees that you discussed, because if the only job opportunity you've got is 40,000 leagues under the sea in a submarine, I'm not so sure too many young people will pursue that for their lifetimes.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. We'll have to chat more on this later, but before we let you go, the real productivity roundtable, as you called it, how did it go?
I think it was an excellent discussion. Some of our brightest and best industry leaders, economists, and we had a no-holds-barred discussion. In the fake roundtable, fake productivity roundtable just below us in the cabinet room, of course. It's all closed shop. There's no cameras, no phones allowed. We don't know exactly what's being discussed, but it doesn't seem like much. They seem to be getting distracted on things like climate change and AI, which our own government can't control. My view is that we, as the Australian government and your Australian representatives, should focus on what we can control. And so what we discussed yesterday was things like our energy system that we've just discussed, controlling that. Government spending. It's proposed to get government spending back down by 4% of GDP, which would just take it a little bit back down from where it grew after COVID, just a bit of a moderation, and return those savings in tax cuts to the Australian people. And so there's lots of great ideas here. As I said earlier, though, the problem is, look, these were ideas that I put on the table. That's what I can do from opposition. What we need is a government that acts. And right now, I think the government's all talk on this stuff and not a lot of action.
M.Canavan, Senator, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Coming up on Sky News.